Okay, I'm trying once again. I've interrupted the video and went back to the PPT. Hopefully this time it works. So I'm now going to speak about the 6 Bravo. So if your parents are not alive, then you have to be ready with those kind of questions. So again, an administrative question here to answer, but be ready and think about how you can be asked questions. And I'm getting ping. Let's see if there is anything. Okay. All right. Moving on to section 6, Charlie, particulars. Again, this is about your mother, your father, or any guardian that you may have in the absence of mother or father. So you uh, have to obviously write about them, no problem. But why is that a black hole? This is a black hole for the simple reason that interviewer will tend to think, oh, your mom has been an IIT professor. Why did you not join IIT? Or, oh, your dad has been a farmer. That's an interesting profession. People are moving to organic farming and people are making good amount of money. And farmers contribute equally to the society, just like any naval officer will do or an army officer will do. Why are you not thinking of joining the farming? Oh, your father makes 100,000 or $1 million or rupees every month. Why do you even have to come to army? He's well settled. He can absolutely give you much more luxuries that than what Air Force will provide you, something like that. Oh, your father makes 50,000. How exactly do you support him? Do you need to? And so on. That's where you would be caught. So caught only if you are not ready. Think about those situations where the interviewer can actually ask you questions. So again, could be black holes or could be simple stepping stones to your success. Let's move to the education record. Education record. Name of the institution, year, division and marks, medium of instructions, border or a day scholar and or the outstanding achievements. All of these can be spoken very easily. I'm pretty sure that you can do that. But why are they black holes again? They are black holes for the simple reason that people can ask you questions on each one of them and you may not know anything what to speak about. So I'm getting a message saying that I'm not live, but just to let everyone know that I'm live and the session is live. So we are moving to the section 7, and as I was speaking about, I'm sorry for these interruptions because there are technology challenges, I think, at some people's end, and I'm getting constant messages or calls uh, that there are issues. So I'll try and address those again in the form of this video. And name of the institution, yes, very simple. But why is your institution called as Holy Flower? Or why is your institution called as St. Stephen's? What's the background behind it? Or why is your institution called as some other fancy name that your institution may have, some blooming flower, school, and so on. So be ready for those kind of things. Year, again, could be a black hole when you start saying, I graduated in, let's say, 2007, but actually I did my postgrad in the year 2012. Oh, 2007 to 2012, you took 5 years. What were you doing in those 5 years? And again, be ready with those kind of answers. So it could be a black hole. Medium of instruction, you could say, I was taught in French. Oh no, I was taught in Hindi. And then the questions would be, so what's your primary language of conversation? And you may be asked to speak, let's say, if you speak Tamil, then say, okay, speak in Tamil. I would love to listen to some, for some reason, they may say, yeah, sing a song. So be ready. Border, day scholar, how was your experience? That's what you may be asked. Again, interviewer has all the liberty to ask you questions and any outstanding achievement. So again, could be a black hole if you're not prepared. So before I move ahead, actually, let me tell you something which is what you need to think about. I'm going through sections, and you know about these sections, which is nothing great actually. Think about from the interviewer's perspective. You have to make an interesting personality. You have to create that interesting personality in front of the interviewer to make sure that he or she takes interest in you. Obviously, you cannot do funny antics or start dancing or start sharing jokes. But at the same time, there has to be that desire, that energy, and that desire to connect with the interviewer and be ready with the answers. Sometimes you may not know the answer, but are you ready with a no, confident no, or are you ready with an answer which may not be directly related to what the interviewer has asked, but is still relevant? Now, let's give an example. For example, the interviewer may ask you, okay, what year did you graduate, and what year did your postgrad? And you would say 5 years gap, although it was supposed to be only 2 years, or maybe no gap at all. Then, are you ready for those kind of questions? You may not have prepared, and you can always say that, yeah, I was doing a startup. I was actually waiting for my results to come out, and I actually did take some certificate course. And you have to connect the dots, but be then and there, be right in his or her face. You don't have to really start cooking up stories, but be consistent with what you have done and be forthright. Just come up, speak. That's very important. People start fumbling. You may take a pause, which is fine. As you are speaking, it is very natural to gather your thoughts. So that's fine. But it could be a black hole if you are not really able to come up with an answer, or you're fumbling. You're thinking in 10 directions, and you're thinking, oh my God, what am I going to say? What is it going to impact? How exactly is it going to impact? So that's what it could be, a black hole. Again, it depends on how you are presenting yourself. So be ready. That's my whole point about all of these. These may look very simple, but interviewer has a lot to ask, has got enough to ask you to actually unseat you, and that's what you don't want. Height, weight. What's so great about it? Nothing, you know that, but could be asked anything on the height and weight as well. So, are you comfortable with your weight? Do you think that's the average height of, let's say, if you belong to Himachal, is that the average height? And you could be caught, oh my God, I didn't even think about that. So, these are not really the questions which you should be worried about. But again, presence of mind is what these questions would indicate your success or your failure. So be ready with those kind of unexpected questions in these kind of responses that you have given in the PIQ. Present occupation, you know that. Monthly income, you know that. If you are earning, let's say you're making tuitions. If you're too young, you haven't even started the job, and you could be talking about, okay, I'm doing tuitions. I make let's say 2,000 rupees a month, which is fine, great. And now you have, and in case that's a question that comes to you, and you have all the opportunity to actually speak about, I have actually been coaching students in grade 10 and helping them with their board exams or some competition. And that gives an aura of confidence about you, and that's what you need. what are they looking at? They are looking at normal people who have the confidence and sense of mind to be able to speak when asked questions for which a general preparation will not be needed. Total training. Yep, the same thing. As I've spoken previously, total training, wing division certificate obtained. Most of the time, you would recall all of this, but they may say, "Okay, oh, you were in that wing, air wing. So speak about some of the interesting flight that you may have taken." And you may say, "Oh, one of the anything. You can speak anything, but I'm just giving an example. But you may say one of the flights did not really take off, and we were actually making it run like a car on the runway, and that was fun. But I learned a lot about aerodynamics, or I learned a lot about engine, or something else. Games and sports. You can list out anything that you want, but don't make it a black hole. How exactly? That can happen if you write too much, if you write too many games and sports, and when it comes time, it comes to interview, and you're not able to recall. Oh my God, I don't recall what's the dimension of the hockey field that I've mentioned. If you have actually played, you would know. Now, if you have played, let's say, in your neighborhood, then you may not really know those kind of dimensions, but you may still be asked. And you can always then justify and say, again, it's about presence of mind. So you can say, we've been playing in the neighborhood, and the neighborhood, we could only manage, let's say, 20 feet by 30 feet ground, and that was my dimension. But it was really fun. So I wouldn't know the actual dimensions, but I know that it was fun, and we could play what was the forward position and so on. You can speak about something which you know. So change the topic to make sure that the interviewer says, yeah, this guy has got presence of mind, is intuitive, and can sustain pressure. And that's what SSB is all about: hobbies and interests. Black hole in the similar way, like just like you speak about games and sports. So hobbies, make sure that you write those things which you know about or you love to do. For example, if somebody asks me, I love to ride motorcycle. Back in India, back in or here in US, I would do 1,000 miles a day. Or in India, I would do Delhi to Bengaluru or Delhi to Srinagar, and I know the whole all the directions, or maybe the cities which come up, or I know about my motorcycles. If I ride a Harley, if I ride a Triumph, or if I ride Royal Enfield, I know about those things. And I would say writing is my hobby. Reading. Now, reading means what? So be specific. I love to read automobiles. Yes, I can speak about what's happening to Model 3 Tesla. I can speak about what's happening to the new Marutis which are coming out in India. So I love to read automobiles, and that's what I would be able to speak. Same goes for my interests. My interest could be uh, gardening, and I know about, let's say, 5 plants, or I only do 10, and I can speak about those 10. Unfortunately, anything else asked, I can say that's coming up in next 2 months, 5 months. That's my project, but hasn't come up yet. So maybe when I go to the academy, that's when I meet you, I'll be able to tell you. So be witty, witty to the point of being sensible and respectable to the interviewer. Black hole again, extracurricular, the same thing. Make sure that you restrict yourself to the extracurricular that you have done, intend to do, and you can speak about. And again, limited, but be focused. You could again speak about that you like to, in the extracurricular, you like to debate, and then somebody can say, okay, if you debate, what have you been debating? What topics do you like to debate about? What kind of do you like Arnab Goswami kind of debate, or do you like more Lok Sabha TV or DD News kind of debate? Those can be the questions which can be asked to you. So be ready. Again, don't make it a black hole. Nature of commission, choice of service, black holes if you're not prepared. Make sure that you know why why are you putting that there? We've been getting a lot of interesting questions. I want to join Navy, I would like to join Army, and there are people who would say, I want to join Armed Forces. Now, Armed Forces is a conglomeration. It's a group. Uh, it composes of different constituents. So you cannot simply say, I want to join Air Force or I want to join Army, and you do not really know what Army does. So it's a good idea. Now, in today's world, if you need to know anything, hit Google. You can find out. YouTube, you can find out. You can find out any social media, what Army does, what Air Force does, and you can then speak about this is the kind of life that you would like lead, because that's what is your interest. You could be into flying, you could be into the ground duties because you don't like heights, for example, or you could be in the army and you would like to manage the logistics, because that's really an interesting idea. Managing hundreds of thousands of dollars or rupees worth of armaments is interesting. Or you want to be in the infantry, or you want to be in the technical domain, like for example, let's say engineers, because you get an opportunity to go to IIT, and it helps you, one, in the job, it helps you in your career progression, it also helps you groom as a more technical officer within the army, and also on an individual level. So be ready, and it's not a black hole. Number of chances, details of last interview. Now, if you want to go ahead, detail all that, that's no problem, as long as you recall and be able to speak. So, last interview details, somebody may say, yes, I know exactly what is there, but again, if you forget in the interview, and don't be terrified, don't make it a black hole. Oh, I'm really sorry, sir. Or really sorry, ma'am. It just slipped out of my mind. I did appear in the selection board, the Navy, let's say Kochi or some other place, and that will give you that sense of confidence, and that's what, again, the interviewer is looking at. Type of entry, place and SSB number, recommended, not recommended. Those are the questions. Only administrative in nature, but like I said, they will be black hole. You could be caught for 5 minutes if you say, well, I was recommended. There are a lot of, I would call them as funny incidences, when people say, well, I almost got through in the SSB. My interview did not go well, but my psychology, my group tasks, they were very well. They went great. So that was my only problem. And people, again, will catch you and catch you because they will believe that you have a tendency to brag about yourself without having any iota of how the system functions. You do not really know whether it was interview or the psychology or group task, because nobody gave you that feedback, and nobody is supposed to give you that feedback. So these kind of questions, again, on the spot questions, be ready. And then I'll go back to our boring slide, the slide one. That's when we said, speak truth, be yourself. That's important. So keep that in mind. And again, we are at the end of the slide sessions. I will move to the last slide. You could be happy. Yep, this is making sense. You could be saying, wow, this is how I'm prepared. So that's great. Or you could be, wow, I really didn't know any of this. Or you could be having a lot of questions. Now, for any of these situations, 4 situations that I have mentioned, feel free to connect with us for a kudos, for your questions, for your comments, and we'll be there to help you. So the slides end here. Slides will be made available to you, and I will check in case there is any question which I do not see. So now I'll end the slideshow and the video, and we'll post the link. Thank you who joined, and thank you who will watch this or who will be watching this. Thank you.